Hi. Bye. Let me ask you guys a question. I've been playing the game, but I have not done the pull feature at all. I haven't even seen it. Have you guys that have used the pull feature? Do you want to see that in tournaments? Is it better than the password thing? Early reviews from other TOs was that it was great. It was time saving. I don't even know how it works. Do you guys? And this is not. You guys aren't the determining factor for if this happens tomorrow or not. Trust me. But if you guys had a say, would you prefer the pull system or the normal password thing? And I'll be right back. Yes, there's always going to be a password. Password thing's always going to be involved. I'm just wondering. is it quicker to make a pool and join off of that than it is to add like the friend, like you don't have to add a friend code to somebody if you're in the pool. That's where the time save is that you don't have to send the friend and close down the private battle to accept the friend request and all that stuff. I don't know. We'll talk to staff about it tomorrow. Figure out how we want to implement that, if we want to implement that for this Low Ink or the next one. It might be next one just because JPEG's not here. I don't want to try too many new stuff, but we'll see. We'll see. By the way, my hoodie is green. It's like a lime green, but on the capture, it looks gray or like sky blue. This is like straight up lime green, like a light green. So it is in theme with St. Patrick's Day. If anybody's wondering, it should be a fun. And yes, I've seen, okay, that someone invited you thing. I've seen that a lot, and I don't know what that is. But I haven't looked too much into it. Well, whatever. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are checking how many bookmarks your private tweets are getting, no longer checking your bracket on Falco's Bracket Challenge after Arizona and Virginia took L's yesterday, demanding more information on Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, even though all of you are about to drop $70 on it anyways. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you who, I guess, celebrate it or don't. I don't really get what the purpose of this holiday is. In my mind, it is below President's Day because I don't get off work for St. Patrick's Day, but I do get off work for President's Day. So that's really all I really care about when it comes to holiday stuff. Drink responsibly for those of you who can do that in whatever country you're legally allowed to drink in. And for those of you who can't consume alcohol, whatever you do on St. Patrick's Day night, enjoy that, I guess. Whatever. Hi. I'm always curious how many people listen into the Low Ink preview episodes of the Popcast that have never really paid attention to the Popcast before and only know me as the person who scolds you in help desk and seems like I'm genuinely annoyed whenever I'm talking to anybody in help desk. It helps that I'm sitting here, well, I'm wearing a hoodie because I do that on the Low Ink previews for some reason, but it helps put a little face behind the name. It's not just, oh, who's this Popkin guy? It's me. I'm a 32-year-old balding married man who's going to have my first child in about 5 months. Is that cringe that I'm the one who's leading Low Ink this weekend with JPEG out? Probably. Do I care? No, because I'm really damn good at running Low Ink. Unless I'm not. News of other tournaments that are going on this weekend that may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. Squid Junction number 40 is going on Saturday night, tomorrow night, for North American time zones. It is there is a prize pool, I believe, $200 if it hasn't been increased due to donations. Squid Junction is a Dapple Productions event, not IPL related, but I have always been on the record saying I love the fact Squid Junction happens the same time as Low Ink Swiss, so that we can direct people that are banned from Low Ink and say, hey, go play in this other tournament. We know you're available. We know you're not doing anything Saturday. Why don't you go play in that one instead? I think some stronger teams are playing in this one because there's a prize pool. I saw Obito challenge Havoc to sign up for Squid Junction 47. Play in this tournament. We'll see you beat me then. Only for Havoc to say, bro, I'm the one running the tournament. It's my tournament. That's hilarious. And let's be honest, nobody's going to be beating Havoc in their own tournament if they decided to sign up for it anyways. It's playing Squid Junction. We like Squid Junction around here. 40 Squid Junctions. I remember when that was just its first time happening. That was got 40 suckers in there. Today we are going to be previewing Low Ink. There is a boatload of teams that are going to be participating in this tournament. The number is still rising because registration is still open for the next 2-ish hours. So if you wanted to play in Low Ink, you can still sign up for it. We'll give you more information on how many teams have signed up. I can tell you exactly how many players have signed up as well when we get to the section of talking about all of the Low Ink teams. Also got my top 10. Made it this morning. You could probably make some changes here and there, but I'm sticking with what I typed out this morning. We're just going to roll with that. I think I got the correct team. I think I know who's going to win this one. I haven't felt confident about that in a while. I think I got it this time, unless I don't. So we'll preview all of that for you guys. But first, why do the bots always show up right before I'm about to start the actual segment? Come on. There we go. So Middle Cup took place last weekend. I only know about it because my wife is the TO for it. Otherwise, I probably would not have paid attention to Minnow Cup at all. Sorry, not sorry. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching it. And I got my office here. My wife has her own office in a separate room. And there's also a third bedroom that's being converted into our son's room, the nursery, I guess. So like we still have our own little private offices that are bedrooms that are basically offices. As you can see, mine has a twin bed in it. Her office has a queen bed in it. So what I like to do whenever she's just in there doing something and I don't have anything to do, I like to just go in there, lay in the queen bed with our dog and watch romance animes. So I'm doing that while she's messing around with Minnow Cup or whatever. And Grand Finals is going on. She's got the stream up, as all TOs do. We all watch our own tournaments, believe it or not. And I kind of peek up over and I see, oh, there's an interesting little match going on here. Secret Elixir and the Imbeciles are going at it in Grand Finals. Clan Blitz only. This is pretty cool. I'm sitting there watching it. A fantastic set. Back and forth between both teams. A lot of dramatic action going on there. It was never really certain what team was going to beat the other team. It was never really clear cut that one team was better than the other. It was just an overall fantastic set to watch. It was enjoyable. The set comes down to the Clan Blitz at Hagglefish Market. The Imbeciles got the lead going into overtime. Secret Elixir has a trump card. They use their Kraken special, go right into the enemy basket, clear out the way. Secret Elixir comes in, pops the basket, takes the lead, and they take the whole tournament on top of it. Nicely done for Secret Elixir. Sorry I didn't do a Popcast episode on Monday. I just decided, let's not this week. Let's not push ourselves too much this week. We'll talk about it on Friday. Now, I first thought, when I saw that Kraken go into the basket, clear the way, and open up the door for Secret Elixir to win, my very first thought was, oh, I bet you the Imbeciles are not going to look back at this tournament and say, here are the mistakes we made. Here's what we can do to improve upon. Here's what we can do to fix ourselves going forward so we can get better. I bet anything they're going to blame the Kraken and say that the other team using Kraken is the only reason why they lost. I bet you that's what's going to happen. Sure enough, some grumbling, some moans and groans here and there would suggest that people are not too happy with Kraken and Clan Blitz in the same kind of conversation. It's not just Minnow Cup. I looked at the feedback channel of Little Squid League. What is the one thing people in Little Squid League has been asking about? Ban Kraken. Little Squid League is demanding that Kraken not be allowed in that tournament. Same thing in the Low Ink Help Desk. I see this barrage of players coming in. Are you guys really going to have Clan Blitz in Low Ink? You're not? Are you sure? You're not going to ban Kraken from it? Have you guys actually played the game? Yes, we are aware. We are seeing everything you guys are seeing. We are talking to people. We are understanding that Kraken is pretty strong right now. But it's all these low-level tournaments that are demanding that Kraken be banned. Or at least you see the most vocal group of people coming out and speaking out saying Kraken needs to be banned or Clan Blitz in conjunction with each other because of Kraken. It's all coming from all of the low-level tournaments. Little Squid League, Low Ink, and Minnow Cup. Okay. Now, let me just start off by saying this. I get it. Okay? It's a brand new special. How long has this special even been out? 3 weeks? 4 weeks now? I think it's been about 4 weeks at this point, maybe 3. So it hasn't really been out that long. There's been discovered a handful of ways to actually beat it. And by beat it, I mean you just throw Ink Strike and it backs it up a little bit. There's some obvious things Nintendo needs to do here. Toxic Mist needs to counter this sucker somehow. I've been using the custom jet a lot in solo queue. I've been loving that thing. It's fun. And whenever there's a Kraken approaching me, my instinct is every single time I've thrown about 100 Toxic Mists at a Kraken thinking this is going to be the one time it does something to it and nothing happens to it. And I'm just like, oh, it just ignores that. Like there needs to be some obvious nerfs heading towards the Kraken and Crab as well. But I mean, as we're looking at Kraken, it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. I agree. An invincibility special is a very sus decision to come out from Nintendo. But you will never see, and you can clip this, you will never see a low-level tournament make any kind of bans outside of what you normally see in a typical tournament unless you see it from somewhere else first. And if you do see that, then that is bad TOing at the low-level scene. It is very bad TOing at the low-level scene. Let me explain why. A few episodes ago, I talked about community bans. Exactly 2 episodes ago, I believe. Episode 164. Go back and check that out if you want some more information on this topic, how I feel about it. But when that episode came out, I wasn't even talking about Kraken because Kraken wasn't even in the game at that point. I was talking about Crab because Crab was the special that everyone was complaining about for months at this point. We were all saying how much Crab was just an unbeatable special, how we needed to get rid of it. And I was talking about how I was starting to change my mind and think, yeah, we need to look into how we can ban Crab and maybe some other stuff from the game in general. And then I went on to talk about how that's ever going to happen. Let me add to that a little bit. First off, the most recent top-level tournament that we had, the top-level finals that we had, what were the weapons that they were used in those finals? And we talked to ProChar about this the last episode of the Popcast. Splash, both Vanilla and Neo and Machine. Kraken is in the game at this point. But at the top level, you don't see Kraken being used at all. At all. Well, why is that? If it's so broken that we need to ban it from all of our low-level events, why is top level not using it? Why aren't they using like quad Kraken? The main issue with Kraken right now, as far as it not being used in the top level, I think it has to do with the fact that the weapons that it's actually on at this point. Right now, it's just the Crack-On Roller and the 96 Gal, which don't really fit in with what the meta is. The meta for this game right now is all about speed, efficiency, and chip damage. And unless you are counting curving your 96 Gal bullets over Wilbur to land randomly onto one of your targets as chip damage, the Gal and the Crackle and Roller don't really fit efficiency or speed or chip damage in any sort of way. Whereas the splash does all of that and then some, and even more on top of it as well. Better paint, mobility, killing power, all that stuff. Plus it's got crab and burst bomb. So it's understandable. I said this when I first saw the Kraken come out. I was like, oh, I bet you that's what the Neo Splashes kit is going to be. And then it got Ink Strike and it was like, oh, no. But if Kraken was on a stronger weapon, I think it would be used more at the top level. The point is right now, and Prochara brought this up, when it comes with Crab versus Kraken, essentially they both accomplish the same things. Crab just does it a little bit better, even though Crab is not an invincibility special. Now, keep in mind, Crab has been out a lot longer than Kraken. There's still some more things for us to discover. There's still some more nerfs to come down the pipe from Nintendo. Hopefully, if they're going to be done making the side order or whatever, and they can actually focus on the game they told us they were going to make, which was the actual Splatoon 3 game. Come on now. I think the main issue, though, when it comes to Clam Blitz, especially with low level, is the jumping strat. You roll in with the Kraken, you jump in with the basket, and you pop the basket. You guys realize people were doing that in Splatoon 2. When Clam Blitz first came out, for like a year, everyone had this idea. What if I just run in there with Baller and my teammates jump to me and they pop the basket? Now, you guys are saying, but Pop Gun, Baller wasn't an invincibility special. You couldn't just hold on to it. Yeah, but you also couldn't shred somebody with a Baller. If somebody had a Baller and they had a clam, a power clam as well, you couldn't shred that, because if you did, they didn't lose control of their power clam. And as soon as you pop their Baller, they just pop the basket. Everybody jumping in pops the basket. You lose. But people stopped doing that, right? People stopped doing the Baller jumping to the Baller strat altogether. You really stopped seeing that. You really saw that whole strategy disappear, because people started to figure out, oh, wait, there's a way we can just figure out how these people are jumping in. We could start killing them as they're coming in. Am I sitting here saying that this is a skill issue, though? That the reason high level doesn't complain about Kraken, but low level cries about it all the live long day as being a skill issue thing? I'm not saying that. In fact, what I'm saying is, let me get through this weekend. Let me see it actually happen in low ink first before we pass any kind of judgment on it. I want to see it more in a competitive setting instead of just a enclosured tournament that is nothing but Clam Blitz. Maybe that just beats the point home a little bit too much there. Regardless, though, if this weapon and special is broken or not, here is why you will never see this change take place in low ink or any other low-level tournament from any tournament TO in the low level that actually knows what they're doing. The point of these low-level tournaments, at its core, I know we talk about the top 10 and we talk about the history and the legacy of winning low ink and the heartbreak of not winning low ink, but underneath all of that stuff that drives the conversation about low ink and helps market the tournament in ways other than just saying, hey, come sign up in our tournament. At the core, the point of all these tournaments is to help prepare you guys for life outside of low ink. I'm not going to say mid-level, because mid-level is not an actual thing. You guys realize that. When you guys sit here and say, oh, I'm a mid-level team, what does that mean? It doesn't, all of you have a different definition of what mid and high and top level is. It's not actual things. It's just low ink, banned from low ink. So we're preparing you guys for life outside of low ink. Can you tell me what point it would be if we were to ban Kraken or anything else exclusive to low level events, just for you guys to eventually graduate from low ink and go on and see those things that just got banned in tournaments you're playing in now be unbanned in Squid Junction, Super Jump, Paddling Pool, Proving Grounds, SOS, 20XX, every single LAN tournament, every single Japan tournament, every single Nintendo tournament. Grandma got ran over by a reindeer cup. What is the point of sheltering you guys from something that you're going to see extensively once you graduate from low ink? We're doing you guys a disservice by banning things exclusive to the low-level scene if it's not being done across the board. So if you want to see change take place in this community, as far as anything is concerned rule-wise, it's never going to come from low level. It's never going to come from the bottom. It has to always come from the top and be pushed down. That's why I'm always against making major decisions off of polls. Or let's decide what the map list is by Discord reactions. Or let's go to Twitter to see what Twitter thinks about this major rule change that we're going to do. Or can I get your guys' feedback on this one thing? Because when you do polls like that and Discord emotes and all that stuff to determine your rules for your tournament, you might as well just let low level decide everything. Because low level, by definition, is the biggest portion of the community. And when it's just everybody gets the same weight of vote in this community, low level is going to decide everything. We really, really don't need that taking place. A lot of you are rolling into this low ink 8 teams deep. And a lot of you that have 8 teams on your roster are still going to try to go past the 2 sub limit that we give you with low ink. You're going to try to get 10 players playing in this low ink. Starburst has 4 players on it. If we do a community-wide vote on something, you guys are going to drown out Starburst and double up them if you have an opinion that's opposite of them. That's not how this should be working. If you want to see any kind of change in this community, play in Squid Junction and leave some feedback in their feedback channel saying that they need to ban Kraken. See what kind of reaction you get from there. Do it in paddling pool. Don't do it in Proving Grounds. I don't listen to feedback from anybody that's low ink related that plays in Proving Grounds. Not because I don't love you guys, but you're literally not the target market of Proving Grounds. So there's no sense in trying to cater a tournament to people that aren't the target market for what that tournament's trying to be. Change has to come from the top. So if you guys lose the Kraken this weekend, and it seems like you guys are going to do that because you don't know how to beat it yet, you are going to see somebody go on Twitter and say, oh, I didn't lose because there's something I can do to improve myself at the game. I lost because the other team used Kraken. All right. Alrighty then. Complain about it. Leave feedback about it. Expecting us. If you leave feedback expecting us to change it for next time, you now know why we're not going to do anything about it. And it's not because we're like, just get good at the video game or just suck it up, kid. It's not that kind of attitude at all. The point is, we can't be coddling you guys and make specific rules just for low level, just for you guys to go off and once you finally get kicked out of low ink or win it or whatever, and then you start playing in tournaments where all those rules are back in. It either has to be something the whole community is on board with or nobody's on board with, or market your tournament as a gimmick tournament, which you're seeing a lot of them pop up recently. That is why you're never going to see that change come from low ink. So if anybody leaves feedback in low ink and they're like, this specific map sucks or this specific special should be banned, it's like, you're talking to the wrong people. And if there ever was a summit of TOs to get into the conversation to talk about starting to ban things, I would be on the board of saying, hey, we should look at Kraken. But before we look at Kraken, we're going to have to look at Splash antenna missiles. And, of course, we could just have this wishful thinking. Nintendo could just come back in and fix all of this tomorrow. Or hopefully that's what the 5-hour maintenance that didn't turn out to be 5-hour maintenance was last Wednesday. You could just sit there and hope that eventually Nintendo will fix all this stuff. My point being, complain about things specific to low ink this weekend. Don't blame, if there's an issue with the game, blame Nintendo. That's just as a note, Grandma got ran over by a reindeer cup is not an actual thing. I've keep making that up, but somebody's eventually going to do it. And if I'm not banned from it, I'll probably play it. That sounds like a fun tournament. By the way, it's been a while. These low ink preview episodes I actually type out, so I could work on it over the course of the week. The actual official Popcast notebook, script book, which has all a gazillion of episodes in it, is starting to run out, so I'm going to have to start buying a new notebook soon. It's nice to do the old school pen and paper low inks, though. No, Grandma got ran over by a reindeer cup is not real. Some teams that have signed up for this low ink and are going to blame Kraken instead of themselves whenever something goes wrong. As of 6:24 Eastern Daylight Time, March 17th, 2023, the total number of teams that have signed up for low ink is 196. Just think about that for a minute. We still have an hour and a half to go. We very well could get to 200. There's 15 teams pending. We very well could get to 200. Now, like 20 of them have splash tag issues, and despite us like pinging them and begging them to fix their splash tags for the past week, they haven't done it. So I'm not really hopeful that we're not going to actually start brackets with 200 teams. It's not going to happen. I think it's safe to say Epsilon should be, unless just like a gazillion teams drop, Epsilon is going to be guaranteed at this point. The total number of teams. So our new splash tag bot that we have also tells us how many players are officially signed up. As of now, the total number of players that are signed up is 1,074. Over 1,000 players are playing in low ink this weekend. 1,000. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. 1,000. And for the record, 1,023 players have their splash tags entered. Only 51 don't. So that's what? Less than 1% of the community in low ink does have their splash tags entered. Which drives home the point that if you don't have your splash tag entered, you really don't have any leg to stand on. Because literally 1,000 people figured it out. How could the other 51 not? Let's talk about some teams here before we get into the top 10. First off, the good old Rip Rays are here. Whip Rays. That is a tongue twister for me for some reason. The Whip Rays. Last time these two guys played in Little Squid League, they made silver bracket. Probably a little bit better than that. We saw them probably most famous for coughing off that 4-0 lead on the Ludi Tonight channel during their Ludi season. But I would like to see these guys improve and bounce back from that. Knowing that I'm going to be seeing Sofa King at Little Tide City in a couple of months. Banana Split is here. The second Banana named team in this tournament. This is a college team. I believe their mascot is the Banana Slugs, which is why they're going by the Banana Split. What is a banana slug, you might ask? I don't know. It just sounds delicious, though. Tea Time is here. My question for Tea Time is, are these guys friends with Team Biscuits? They have to be, right? Like, Tea Time and Team Biscuits are just made perfect for each other. Now, Team Biscuits are cookies, not actual American biscuits or anything like that, but some Team Biscuits and Tea Time should be best friends just off their names alone. Tea Time made Gamma bracket last month. This is a stacked low ink, by the way. Before we even get to the top 10, the more I look deeper in some of the teams that are signed up here, the more I'm starting to realize, there's some monsters here that probably should be the case to be made in the top 10 or even the honorable mention. One of those teams being Last Wish. And this team could be really good. And this could be the team that wins low ink, and this is the only time I ever talk about them. Last Wish is a team made up of players from Polyamorous Gamership and Italian Ice. I didn't really know who Italian Ice was, but they made Alpha Bracket last low ink. And now they're already disbanded, maybe, or broken off to form Last Wish, which doesn't sound like a pickup team name. It sounds like a new name. So last wish, keep an eye out for these guys. Or the Ben Thick Brigade. They got third place in beta last month. And I like this team because, as Saf pointed out to me, the best way to pronounce them is Ben Thick. We've all been there, haven't we? A whole brigade for being thick. I see you. The Lost Inklings are playing in this low ink. Here's some trivia for you. And this was told to me by Emil, I believe, on episode 100 of the Popcast. The team that is tied with Day Old Sushi for the most ever appearances in a Ludi season. Like, they played more Ludi seasons than anybody. It's the Lost Inklings. They might be the oldest team in the entire community. No pun intended. That's Day Old Sushi. But Lost Inklings, who I believe some of their players are going to Low Tide City as well. They're playing in Low Ink this time around. Inkling Daycare. The last time Inkling Daycare played in Low Ink, they had a whole smorgasbord of people in chat. It could have just been their entire roster saying they demanded them to be on stream, and we put them on stream, and they got beat up. My bad. Inkling Daycare. My wife and I are going to have to hit them up in a couple of months and see what their rates are. When you got this many team names, you're bound to find some team names that are kind of linked together here. For some reason, we got some really scary, edgy team names in this Low Ink. First off, you got the Soul Eaters, which is not like soul, but like the. Oh, actually, the more I think about that, the Soul Eaters is like, there's feet. That's gross. Those guys made Silver Bracket and LSL. You got Death Row in all caps Death Row. It's a little bit morbid. They played last month. They're back again. You also got Pure Chaos. And I am blaming, if you are upset with Kraken in this game, if you're upset with Crab, if you don't like Umami Ruins or any of these other Mad Max looking things, blame everybody that was on Team Chaos and not Team Order. Could you imagine what Inkopolis would look like in a futuristic setting? But no, thanks to people like Pure Chaos, we got Kraken. Blame them. They got the chaos that they wanted. These guys went 5-1 last month. They got a lot of really quality wins in their Swiss group, and then they dropped. So I don't really know what to think about them because they didn't play Sunday at all. They're back, though. The Boston Scuffed Party. Somebody made I forget who, but somebody made a tweet, I think it was this week, of low-level teams in their logos, like their team logos, and rated them in different tiers. That person missed the Boston Squid Party logo, because the Boston Squid Party logo of the little squid in the teacup, that is S tier, S plus tier, and they weren't on that tier anywhere at all. So whoever made that tier list, do a little bit better research. You missed some quality. What's there? Speaking of quality logos and teams that are super, super old, I'm very happy to see that Krill Streak has rearing its ugly head back into this tournament. Welcome back, Krill Streak. I mean, these guys were around like episode 1 of the Popcast, and I'm on like episode 166 right now. So it's good to see Krill Streak back. Gosh, the cringe days of the Popcast. How good is Krill Streak going to do? Not sure, but looked at their roster. It's very similar to the roster they had before all those many, many moons ago. Camo and Milk. Camo, good to see you in chat. Big fan, as always. It was one of the first Popcast fan art that I ever got, actually. It was from Krill Streak. C Drive is coming back into this tournament. What is notable about C Drive? They won Gamma Bracket last time. And now, winning Gamma Bracket in the modern era of Low Ink is pretty impressive because Gamma Brackets are crazy difficult to, when there's 196 teams, to say you're in the top 33 of them, which C Drive can technically claim for themselves. That's pretty impressive to say. The team that won Delta bracket was Wavebreak. The team that made Delta the week before, or the month before, and didn't win it. The team that won Little Squid League earlier. I want to say that was in December when they won that. Or yes, I believe that was in December when Wavebreak won Little Squid League. Could Wavebreak be the next version of Sia? Now, I hate it when people are like comparing teams to other teams or players in the NBA coming in to like, oh, this is who this player reminds me of. It's like, no, can a player just remind you of themselves? So Wave Break, though, could have a Sia-like run where they just start at the bottom and slowly work their way up because they are improving every time we see them play in these tournaments. They top 10 team? No. No. Could they be in a couple of months? Let's see. Let's keep the trajectory up. Let's see them make Gamma or top 32 this time around. Everything's gonna be alright. Rockabye. Rockabye. Lullaby is coming back in this month. They were in beta last time that they played. I had them in my top 10. Not having them in my top 10 this time around, obviously, if I'm talking about them here. But Lullaby, still got my eye on you. Don't you worry. Intimidation Facto. They didn't play last month. But this could be a good month for them to bounce back into that top 10 area if they could find a way to pop off with what they used to do. There was that one low ink where they did really well. I think they got like top 5. They haven't really come close to getting that kind of caliber of results since then. But we're always just going to be keeping an eye. Whenever you like really pop off like that, it's kind of like Aquatic Vanguard. It's like, are you going to do it again? You're just going to start tearing everybody apart again? You're just going to float around? Always scary when you go up against Intimidation Factor. How about Combo? These guys had a great run in Minnow Cup. They actually beat the Final Reckoning 2-0 in that Minnow Cup. They must have used nothing but Kraken. They must have just cheated their whole way through. Now, Minnow Cup is just one mode only. Obviously, we're going to be referencing Minnow Cup a few more times going forward. But, hey, when you beat the Final Reckoning at anything, as you might find out with my top 10, that's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. The Rolling Squids. The more I get to know this team, the more I really like Rolling Squids. Half of their team is now staff for IPL to some extent. Big Toasty fan. Kariki is the future of TOing as well. Rolling Squids, nothing but nice things to say about them. I'm rooting for them. I hope they make a return to top 32. I think it's been a bit since they've been sniffing around that territory. The Flying Octos. Last month, I said the Flying Octos would be the team that would come out of nowhere and win low ink. Not because I believed in the Flying Octos, but it's just like, that just sounds like a team name that's going to win low ink at some point. You're going to be like, what the heck? What are these guys doing in grand finals? Oh, wait, that is won in game 7 against somebody you actually know. Okay. They did get to beta bracket last month, actually. I think they got bounced rather early in beta bracket, but still, keeping an eye on the Flying Octos. Bomb Sniffer DX. Did any of you even play Splatoon 1? Can you still play? You can't play Splatoon 1 anymore, can you? Did they shut down the servers? How does that work? If we go back and have like a Splatoon 1 charity event, can you still play in those tournaments, or do you need to do like a private battle of LAN or something like that? I don't know. But Bomb Sniffer comes from Splatoon 1, and well, you don't have to sniff out bombs anymore. You can just hear them screeching right at you before they explode. Hey, Bomb Sniffer TX, you guys are about 8 years too late. That thing's gone. Origami Dragons are here. Now, the Origami Dragons used to be known as the Bamboo Dragons. They are much better now as the Origami Dragons than when they were the Bamboo Dragons, which means if they want to take the next step and become even better, they need to change their name yet again. And I have a suggestion for it. With all these banana teams that we have in low ink, why not the Banana Dragons? Who would want to fight a banana dragon? That seems like it's an unbeatable thing. Absolutely unbeatable thing. So when the Banana Dragons start rolling around, that's when they become top 10 material. Right now, they're the Origami Dragons. We'll keep an eye on them because they're usually making Sunday. They're always better in this one than they are in Little Squid League. Any other teams that have signed up since I started writing this stuff this morning? Like 100 doggone teams. You have to click the load more button 4 or 5 times just to see all the teams that are signed up here. You got a team named something with no logo. Hey, you got all your players' splash tags in. That's all that really matters. Crab Rave is back. Ooh, Fish is back. A bunch of other pickup team names that are also 8-bit. Okay, honestly, I don't know much about 8-bit, but I feel like they're decently good. I feel like those guys actually destroy me in solo queue whenever I play them. I need to know a little bit more about 8-bit. Masquerade, never heard of those guys, unless I have, and I've talked about them like 20 times on the Popcast and not really realized it. The Arkansas Chicken Beaters. That has to be offensive to somebody. Somebody's got to complain about that team name. I just know it's going to be happening. Is that the only teams I really want to talk about here? Inception is back. Crab, that's C-R-A-B. Crab is back here. Deliverance is playing. The Misfits. Hey, Misfits, you always got a place with us in Lowing. Blood Moon. Another kind of aggressive name. Will a Blood Moon rise once again in this upcoming tournament? I don't know. Fruit Tea. I could go for some fruit flavored tea. Hey, the Pond Duck Crew is here as well. Looks like there's some late arrivals into this Low Inc. I think one of their players subbed for somebody that won Low Inc. Within the past 3 months or so, but their roster as a whole is still kind of fine. I know they play in Little Squid League. I'm still waiting on them to either win Little Squid League or do enough to where they can just get completely kicked out altogether. Colo Flame, you're on. Oh, you're a Misfit. You're not on Team Misfits, are you? You are. You are a Misfit that is playing for Team Misfits. Well, there you go. Craft Bite and Halo with a funky kind of. I think that's the only team. Oh, Heaven's Reflections here. Do I talk about them at some point? I do. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Zyler. As I mentioned earlier, when I was talking about Last Wish, this is a super stacked tournament. Sometimes I just have the opportunity where if I want to put 10 teams into the top 10, I'm just be like, all right, I got like 5 teams. Who are some 5 other teams that I think might deserve to be in here? This one, I'll be completely honest, I probably should have spent more time thinking about it than what I did, because as I made my top 10 initially, I was like, oh, wait, that team's not in it. And like, oh, wait, this team signed up. And like, who would I take out to put them in? And there's a lot of confuddling going on here, because there are a lot of teams that have the potential to win it. Now, keep this in mind. I am about to mention my top 10 teams, and 6 teams in the honorable mention. None of these 16 teams I'm about to talk to you about are going to win. In fact, none of these 16 teams are even going to make grand finals. What we've seen as a trend in the past 2 Low Incs has been a team you've never heard of, a team playing in their first Low Inc, either as a pickup of a new players or just brand new players that haven't played in tournaments in a long time or hasn't played in Low Inc in a long time, and they come back and they just curb stomp everybody till grands. These teams aren't winning it. The name brand teams have not been winning Low Inc as of late. They can't get the job done. What we want to see, what I would love to see, and I've talked about this a long time ago. Maybe some of the members of Krill Streak used to remember when I say things like this. There's 2 different mentalities of teams that are in this kind of category. These teams that are looking to win the tournament. You can either be a hunter or the hunted. The higher up this chart you are, you become the hunted in this Low Inc. You got other teams that are looking at you and they're like, I'm not scared of playing against Photic Zone. I want to beat them. I'm excited to have the challenge of it. So you got a team that everybody is gunning for and everybody wants to defeat. On the flip side, you got teams that are the hunters. These are the teams that might have a target on their back, but they don't care because they're so bloodthirsty, they're so determined that they're going to beat anybody that they can to get what they want. They're out to win this tournament, not just by saying it, but through their actions, through their gameplay, through their style. They're looking to take on the top teams that they can find. They're not scared of anyone. They're not trying to dodge anyone. They are hunters, and they're going out with a mission. We have not had hunters the last couple of lowings. The hunters have been these teams like TBW and the Prowlers and the Republic, teams that are just like, I'm just playing for fun. And it just so happens I got a higher skill level than the other people here. I'm just going to run through and beat everybody. This is a lot of fun. But what about all those teams that are supposed to win this tournament? We're seeing teams crumble under pressure. I talked about this when I talked about the end of the last lowing. We got teams that are missing some shot callers. It's obvious in their play style that they're not playing these tournaments to try to win. I want to see some of these teams finally step up, take some initiative and say, I'm not going to be scared of the moment. I'm not going to shy away. I'm going to be a hunter, and I'm just going to start lighting people up, and I'm going to win this tournament because that is what I signed up for it to do. I feel like the last two teams that have signed up for this tournament didn't sign up with it with the mindset of trying to win it. I think they just signed up with the mindset of having fun, and they just happened to be the best team. But I want to see an actual competitor try to win this one. So let's look at our honorable mentions real quick. First off, let's get controversial right off the bat. I have Splat-A-Lot Imbeciles in the honorable mention. Yes, I saw Minnow Cup. Yes, I know they were a smidgen away from winning that one. Spoiler alert, as you can see in my top 10, I don't particularly care about results in Minnow Cup anyways. As far as low ink is concerned, they've had like one good low ink, and then the rest have been kind of underwhelming, especially in this new format that we have of the top 32 going forward. Until I actually see Splat-A-Lot I start ripping people apart and making it into alpha bracket, I'm going to be wary about putting them back into the top 10 where I've had them before. How about, now this might seem like a joke, Paul Blart's Pikmin Warriors. Now, these guys are in the honorable mention, and I honestly contemplate putting them in the top 10. But just so you know who the Paul Blart Pikmin Warriors is, if the Pikmin team name doesn't give away who one of the players is, it's Twig, Ike, Matt, Little Rice, who was a new player that they found, who we did verify, and it looks like they added Chino recently. I don't know anything about that player. But it's essentially a mostly aquatic Vanguard pickup for this month of Twig and Ike. And Twig and Ike can play any weapon that they want/care to play in. So this should be a good team. Honorable mention worthy. As they should be. The Night Sharks, I got them in the honorable mention. I believe I had them in the top 10 the past 2 months. They didn't play last month. They dropped. But I feel like some other teams have leapfrogged them in between them and there. I still think highly of the Night Sharks. I think they will go down as the best college team of all time in low ink. I think they'll supplant ITAP at some point. They're on that right kind of trajectory. We need to see them actually play, though. ITAP had to drop a few times as well. It's hard for college teams to play an entire weekend, especially during the season or the semester. But Central Florida didn't make, I don't think, the men's or the women's bracket, so they got nothing else to do. They're not watching anything this weekend. I'm putting Jelly Squids in the honorable mention. Why not? I feel like they deserve it. They made alpha bracket last time. They're knocking on that door. They're kind of like Surf and Turf's twin sister. If you want to think about it like that way, just like slow burn, slowly crawling their way, just waiting around. Eventually it's going to be their time to win it. I don't think it's their time. That's why I got them in the honorable mention. But we alpha bracket last month. We'll see what they do this time around. Heaven's Reflection is in my honorable mention, and they might be storming my DMs to complain about that. I don't know. I know they are going to be changing things slightly with their roster, but it's still mostly the same. So we'll see how Heaven's Reflection does in this tournament. I know they made top 32 last time. They might have even made alpha bracket. Honestly, I can't remember, and I didn't write it down. The last team we're going to mention here in the honorable mentions section. This is a very lengthy one. Don't worry, Splat-A-Lot I. I'm not putting Splat-A-Lot C, the Cosmic Cherries, above you guys yet. But I think they could be better. With what they showed last month, where they won beta bracket, I think they could be. Now, you guys know I usually put beta bracket champs like in the middle of my top 10 the next month. I think they're that good. The problem with Cherry is this beta bracket isn't the same kind of beta bracket as it used to be. And Outcast Ninjas looked like they just ripped them apart on stream when we saw them play in that one. But still, Splat-A-Lot Cherries, the Cosmic Cherries, I think is the best name of the Splat-A-Lot teams. I know I like the Imbeciles a lot from their team name. I feel like it's bold to come out with that. But I want to see the Cherries play some more before I consider put them in the top 10. So let's get into the top 10. Number 10. How much stock do I put into Secret Elixir's Minute Cup win last weekend? Some. There were some solid teams in that tournament that they went up against. It didn't really dodge anyone. The problem is, as far as Low Ink is concerned, is the 2-day format, and it's not just one mode. Tourney, Zones, and Rainmaker and Tower Controller are all mixed in here. Still, they showed enough in that Minnow Cup, I feel like, to warrant being a top 10 team. Considering that they have little to no Low Ink experience, though, I didn't really justify putting them much higher. But looking deeper into their roster, is starting to realize, oh, this is a team that should have won that Minnow Cup tournament. And I feel like they're going to be a top 10 worthy team in this Low Ink going forward. Number 9. I'm going to embarrass myself here. I only recently came to the realization that Banana Basics are actually a shoe that is in the game and not an intro-level course on the topic of bananas. And here I was, ready to give you guys banana-related facts every single month that they signed up here, such as the fact that bananas are technically classified as berries. I was willing to tell you guys that. And then I came to the realization it's been about drip this entire time. It's always been about drip. Now, none of you idiots in chat ever called me out on this, because I kept making banana fact jokes every time I talked about these guys. And none of you realized it was about the shoe that was in the game. So don't be coming at me with this, all right? You guys got fooled as well. So I'm blaming you all for this betrayal just as much as me. Banana Basics has a revamped roster of experienced free agents and should make a return trip back to Alpha Bracket. I don't think they're ready to win this one yet, though. No, you didn't, air sign. None of you ever said anything. You can't come at me now. And doggone it, I'm still giving you guys banana facts going forward. You guys are stuck with banana facts. And you know what? If Banana Basics wants to start winning this tournament, they're going to have to upgrade themselves to Banana Intermediate and not just Popgun Slays. Let's be honest here. Number 8. Let's get blunt here. Ink in the System has not looked good in recent Low Inks. They just flat out have not been looking good. For whatever reason, they've lost their mojo on Saturday specifically. I don't know if it's just like a mental hurdle that they got to get past, or they take a first loss early and it just eats away at them when they know they got to, if they take a second loss, they're basically done unless opponent win percentage saves them. I don't know. The thing is, though, despite the fact their recent results, we all know what Ink in the System is capable of when they play at their best. This is the month where they have to show it, though. They desperately need a return to form to show everyone why they have earned the respect of everybody in the low-level community, why everybody nominated them to be the team that Kyo would coach, and why they are the poster child for every team that's going to go 0-6 this upcoming weekend. Show us who you really are, Ink in the System. We're watching. Okay, I'm giving helpful banana facts. You're giving potentially dangerous banana facts. Number 7. KO Calamari did not play last month because they were pending in registration and didn't realize it until Saturday morning. So they never actually signed up, and they came into help desk and were like, how come I don't have the captain role? It's like, don't know how to tell you this, but you're not a captain in low ink right now. I would have put them in the top 10 then, but now that they actually have signed up, I can put them in here now. They won beta bracket in January, which usually leads to great things the next time you play in low ink the next month, even though it's been 2 months now. I am excited about them, though, because they've added a former Red Pacific player to their roster to give them some added depth on top of the quality results they were already racking up in low ink to this point anyways. I've counted this team out before, but when you have a beta win and the results that they usually had going up to this thing, I got to give you some mad props. I expect KO Calamari to get into Alpha Bracket and do some damage this time around. Number 5. Number 6, actually. Tricked you. Number 6. How about them biscuits, huh? Team Biscuits won their Swiss group last month. They won their top 32 group, and only took an L in round 1 of Alpha Bracket because they got matched up against an Outcast Ninja team that was just on something else that day. Team Biscuits is just one of those teams that floats around and eventually will just have a monster run in this tournament and explode their way to a podium result. It could be this month, which is why I'm going to make sure that they are always going to be in the top 10 consistently going forward. Also, I believe they got 3rd place in Minnow Cup Clan Blitz. Not that we put a lot of stock in that, but don't count them out because of that. Number 5. I don't think I've ever put Outcast Ninjas in the top 10. But a few strange things have happened that warrant them being in the top 10. First off, they went Ultra Instinct for a brief moment last month, forcing their way into Alpha Bracket by beating the Beta Bracket champ Splatlat Cosmic Cherries on stream, Team Biscuits, and taking June to a Game 5 in Round 2 of Alpha Bracket. The other strange thing with this team is that they're actually playing 2 low inks back-to-back. They're playing in low ink 2 months in a row. They usually have this pattern where they play in 1 low ink and then they take the next 3 low inks off before they sign up again and remind us of who they are as being one of the oldest teams remaining in low ink. I believe they said they have jobs on the weekend and their schedules don't always align. But look for the June 2022 beta champs to have another big Sunday if they can tap into whatever energy or fountain youth that they found in the middle of last month's low ink. Number 4. It's not often that I put a brand new team that has never played it in low ink into my top 10. But let's slide the Swedish BTS team into this list. The players for this team include Bridget, Kaizo, Goldeb, and Manolacho, maybe, representing Epsilon, June, and Alliance of the Damned. Now, is this a pickup or an actual team going forward or a project? I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just saying this roster of 4 players is general who all have Alpha Bracket experience. Check that. Deep runs into Alpha Bracket experience should do really well. So keep this team on your radar. I'm excited to see these guys play. Number 3. I'm really glad that Orca Balestra didn't win last month. Not because I don't like them, but because I severely underrated them. And I'm not going to hide behind the excuse of I didn't really know who they were or that they were an unknown thing. I knew who they were. They were the team that won me like 10,000 channel points in an SOS one time before I lost it all gambling against Marine Melody. I just don't think they were a top 10 team. And boy, howdy, did they prove me wrong last month. They made their alpha bracket appearance, taking Photic Zone to a game 5 in round 1 after going 6-0 in their Swiss group on Saturday. Orca Balestra is the real deal, and I won't make the same mistake of counting them out again. My bad, Orca. My bad. Number 2. Look, I know Photic Zone has not been having a good run of things when it comes to them being on stream in Alpha Bracket. They're still, if not one of the best skilled teams in this tournament. Even dropping down to a roster of 4 from 5 that they had back in January didn't prevent them from making round 2 of Alpha Bracket. The problem is when push comes to shove, Photic Zone tends to shy away from the big moments. We saw that in Game 5 of Art Academy against TBD in January. We saw it in the Rainmaker Undertow game against the Prowlers last month. If they can just capture a killer's instinct and play like a hunter instead of succumbing to the pressure of being the hunted, then I think they will exercise all the demons that they've been facing the last couple of months and have the best tournament yet. But I could definitely see this team as a team that plays way better, in tournaments outside of Loic than they do in it. By the way, the road to grand finals has gone through Photic Zone the past 2 months. If you play against Photic Zone and you beat them on Sunday, your odds of making grand finals, almost 100%. Number 1, the team who has the best odds, in my opinion, going into this tournament of actually winning it. My logic is this. If the Final Reckoning can make 3rd place last month, minus Rizu, how good are they with them back in the lineup? That is the question that is going to be answered for the 2-time Alpha Bracket team, the Final Reckoning, as they entered this Loic as my number 1 team. That doesn't bode well for them because number 1 teams have been really, really bad this past year or so. And the reason for them being that they all have to deal with that pressure. It's a different animal when you're playing in Loic to have fun and see how well you will do versus having a goal of being the best team out of potentially 200 other teams that are playing in this tournament. Think about it. If you are not better than 200 other teams for the position that the Final Reckoning is in, that's considered a failure for them. But that's the position that Final Reckoning finds themselves in. Can they hold off all those rando teams that I didn't talk about today that nobody's heard of to make sure that they don't win it this time around and that they are the team that actually does it? Can they forget about the fact that they got 2-0'd by combo in that Minnow Cup Clan Blitz tournament, a top cut round 1? If they could do that, I think they have the best chance of all these teams in my top 10. So that is why I have them as my favorite to win, even though history would suggest that they won't. So there you go. Those are my top 10 teams for this Loic. If you disagree, if you feel like I didn't talk enough about your team, if I didn't give you enough credit, I always start off my Monday episodes of the podcast after Loic offering apologies to those who deserve it. If you're a rando nobody team, you don't deserve an apology. I don't have you in the top 10 because I have no idea who you are, but you'll make a name for yourself. I always catch these things and talk about it on the Popcast the day after, a Monday after Sunday. If you'd like to be a part of the podcast anyway, feel free to reach out my socials below. Twitter, Mr_Popgun, Discord, Popgun, #5882, YouTube at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. I don't know. Don't DM me. Don't DM me this weekend. I've already dealt with so many silly billies that it's annoying. I'm going back to help desk. I will see you idiots there. Enjoy this weekend. Be on your best behavior. Remember, there's a lot of people playing in this Loic for the first time. Be good ambassadors of the low-level scene to them. And if I were you, I'd be using Kraken on nonstop. Apparently, low-level doesn't know how to beat it.